Hi, in this video this series of videos we're going to be working through a GCSE paper. Please do stop the video, have a go at each of the questions, then compare your solutions. Each of the videos is going to be about 20-30 minutes or so. It should give you about an hour's worth of fairly focused revision. If you're not sure about anything, always add a comment. I'll come back to you and I'll look forward to seeing you inside the video.
Hi, this is the third video in the playlist where we're looking at the November 2018 Paper 3 Foundation Maths for Edexcel. In the previous video we completed through to question number 22. In this video we're going to start from question number 23 and we're hopefully going to complete to the end of the paper. Okay, so here we are on question number 23, and it's Fran asks each of 40 students how many books they bought last year, and the chart shows information. Okay, and then the first question is, work out the percent of these students who bought 20 or more books. So basically what we're saying is it's this group over here, which accounts for 2 students. So therefore 2 students out of the total of 40 students bought more than 20 books. If I multiply that fraction then by 100, I'm going to get my percentage, which is equal to 5%, and that would be the answer to part A. Okay, now part B is a little bit trickier because we're going to work out an estimate for the average number of books, the mean number of books. Well, the mean is equal to the total divided by the number. Now we do know the number is going to be 40 because there's actually 40 students. Okay, but what we've got to do is work out the total number of books. So I'm going to actually go back to the chart itself, and within each of these groups I'm going to look at the average number, because the first group of 11 students bought between 0 and 4 books. So what we basically say is that they bought an average of 2 books each. So therefore within that first group there must be 22 books represented. And we use that technique for all the other bars as well. For the second bar I'm going to say there's actually 8 students. They bought an average of 7 books each, so therefore that's going to be 56 books in total. With the third bar we've got 13 students, and they bought an average of 12 books each, and therefore 13 times 12 is going to be 156 books. Okay. 6 students bought between 15 and 19 books, so an average of 17 books each, and that would have been 6 times 17 is going to be 102. And then finally the 2 students at the end who bought between 20 and 24 books, well, they bought an average of 22 books each, so they actually bought 44 books in total, because 2 times 22 is 44. So therefore the total number of books is going to be all of these added up together. Okay, so let's just do that. I'm going to write it all out on here, but please do stop the video, have a go at each of these questions, and then compare your solutions. So 22 for the first group, then 56, then 156, and then 102, and then 44 for those 2 right at the very end. And when I add all of that up and divide by 40, I get 9.5. So therefore the mean average, or the average number of books bought by the students, is going to be 9.5, and it is a show that question, so therefore your answer should be 9.5 as given in the question. Okay, hopefully that's all right for you. Let's move on then to question number 24. Okay, so here we are on question number 24, and Lara is a skier. She completed a ski race in 1 minute 54 seconds, and the race was that in distance. So what have we got? Well, we've got a relationship between speed equals distance divided by time. Okay, so what we're able to do just with the first few sentences there is use this information to work out the speed that Lara is completing the race in, because the distance is going to be equal to 475, but we've got to be a little bit careful about the time, because essentially if we give our answer in minutes, we've got 1 minute and 54 seconds. Okay, so we need to convert everything to minutes. So it's going to be 1 plus 54 over 60, and that will give us 1.9 minutes. Okay, be very careful about how you do these things. The way I would do it is I would take that 54 out of 60 and I'd make everything into minutes, because it means then that I can work my speed for Lara in meters per minute, which is actually very neatly 250 meters per minute. Okay, hopefully that's okay for you. Please do stop and have a go at these type of questions. And then it says Lara assumes that the average speed of 250 meters per minute will be the same for each race. Using this assumption, work out how long Lara will need to take to complete a 700 meter race and give your answer in minutes and seconds. So therefore we can do exactly the same as we did before. We can say, well, actually, if her speed, which we now know is 250 meters per minute, we've got speed equals distance divided by time, and that's going to be equal to 250 is equal to a 700 meter distance divided by time. So therefore we need to make time the subject of this particular formula. Now there are a couple of different ways that people will understand how to do these things. I'm not going to worry about it too much. What I would normally do is I'd make time the subject. So therefore if I multiply this by time, I get time times 250 equals 700, and therefore if I divide through by 250, I get time equals 700 divided by 250. So what I'm basically doing is swapping one to the other. Now what that gives me then, if I just pull this up here, is a time of 2.8 minutes. Okay, now remember how we did this before, that effectively I've got 2 minutes and then I've also got 0.8 of a minute, which is this bit here. That 0.8, if I want to find out how many seconds that is going to be 0.8 of 60 seconds, and therefore that will give me 2 minutes and 48 seconds as my answer to this particular question. So they are quite challenging, a little bit difficult to kind of work through, particularly when it comes to converting minutes and seconds and that sort of thing. Just remember that there are 60 seconds in a minute, okay, and the same would also go for 60 minutes being in an hour as well. Okay, let's move on then to part B. Lara's average speed actually increased the further she goes. How does this affect your answer? Well, it would affect it because if her speed increases, it would take less time. Okay, and that would be absolutely fine just for that 1 mark. Okay, let's move on then to question number 25. We are at the end of the paper here, so things are a little bit more challenging at this end of the paper. Okay, so what we've got is right angle triangle. So what's going through my mind at the moment is either it's going to be Pythagoras or SohCahToa. Okay, if I just make a note over here, okay, I've got Pythagoras or SohCahToa. I haven't really got much information for Pythagoras, but I think it's going to be a SohCahToa type question, because it's going to give us the size of angle B equals the size of angle A on the ratio of 3 to 2. So if I said that the angle A is going to be, say, 2, let's call it x, okay, and therefore the size of angle B must be 3x. So what I've got there is it's a multiple of x 2 times for angle A, and angle B is a multiple of x 3 times. Okay, so therefore I can work this out now, because I know that the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. I also know that this is a 90-degree angle because it's a right angle triangle, and it tells us that in the text. So what I can say is 2x plus 3x plus 90 is going to equal 180 degrees, which is going to give us 5x equals 90 degrees, therefore x must equal to 18. So therefore now I know that this value of 2x must be 2 times 18, which is 36 degrees, and this value of 3x must be 3 times 18, which is 54 degrees. Okay, so I'm in a position now where if I want to work out the length AB, which is the question that's being asked, I can just use SohCahToa. Okay, so I'm going to just redraw this particular triangle. For those of you who do watch my videos on a regular basis, I do a lot of drawing. I'm very aware of that. Okay, so what information I've got? Well, I know the bottom is going to be 14. I'm looking for the length AB. Well, the length AB is going to be this one here. This is B and this is A, so I'm looking for this one along here. Okay, I know that this angle is going to be 36 degrees, and I know that this angle is going to be 54 degrees. Okay, well, what information have I got? Well, I know this is going to be the hypotenuse. What I've decided to do is I'm going to work with 36 degrees, so therefore this will be the opposite, and then the remaining length is going to be the adjacent. Okay, so out of SohCahToa, which ratio am I going to use? Well, I'm actually going to use the cosine rule, because I know the adjacent is 14. I'm trying to work out the hypotenuse, and also I know the cosine of 36 degrees. So I can write this as cosine 36 degrees equals the adjacent, which is going to be 14, divided by the hypotenuse. Now we're in a similar situation as we were with working out Lara's time, and that was back on question number 24, where we needed to make hypotenuse the subject. Okay, now in this particular case, hopefully you'll remember that what we do is we simply swap over, so we get hypotenuse equals 14 divided by the cosine of 36 degrees, and when I put that into my calculator, I'm actually going to get 17.3 centimeters, and that is actually the answer to 3 significant figures for this particular question, which is the length AB. Okay, and that would be the answer to that question. Okay, the very final question in this particular paper is going to be an arithmetic sequence. These are not too bad really. It's only a 2-mark question, because the common difference here is going to be +6, and I need 2 things for an arithmetic sequence. I need to know the common difference, which is going to be, as I mentioned, +6. Sometimes it's a negative number, but it's positive in this number, in this sequence. And then I also need to know something called the 0 term. Now the 0 term is the number that appears at the end here, which is going to be in this case -1. Don't forget, this is the first term, the second term, third term, fourth term. So therefore this must be the 0 term, because when I add 6 to it, I'm going to get to +5. So the zero term is going to equal to -1. And then I simply write the expression as the nth term equals 6n minus 1. And that's the answer to question number 26, which is the end of this particular paper. I hope you found it useful. Please do let me know in the comments. If you're not sure, let me know, and I'll be able to maybe put together a playlist for you or point you towards a solution somehow. Okay, and I look forward to seeing you inside the next video.